I hope that they don't hear Ginger through the door this whole episode.
They shouldn't.
Whining her heart out because, well, I locked her out of us.
And you also hit her with a shoe.
Two shoes. Both of my shoes. It's like, I figured I could do one, right? But shoes come in a pair.
That's true.
And so does abuse. So
can't have one without the other.
Right? It's kind of beautiful in that way. Because if you're going to slap someone with one shoe, it's like how, you know when you eat things?
Yeah.
And you want, like the same amount of chews on each side of your mouth?
You mean like just like at the same time? Because I do like
no, I go one side and then the other side.
Yeah.
I also have to eat even amounts of food.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I eat one fruit snack, I have to eat the other fruit snack. Once for the right side, once for the left side.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Same with when I hit people with my shoes.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I just don't want it to be uneven.
Speaking of caves, actually, I just started working at a camp, basically. And right now I'm like doing before and after school care for some elementary schools. And, you know, they want us to play with the kids and whatnot. And there's this one girl named Cherish at the school that I'm teaching. And she likes to do this thing where she tells people's future. She's kind of like an old fortune teller, you know, with the big beard and whatnot.
Big cloak, I imagine.
Yeah, and you know, usually the you know, future readings they're pretty pleasant, you know, and actually things that I'm interested in. You know, she'd look into like a blue marble and she'd be like, "Oh, you're gonna make a lot of money in the future," and I'm like, "Fuck yeah!"
Yeah, that's a good thing.
She looks in a green one. She's like, "You're gonna be a pirate in the future," and I'm like, "Hell yeah!" And so the other day, I'm like posted up watching like the entire class, making sure no one's doing anything bad. And she comes up and she's like, "Hey, you want a future reading?" And I'm like, "You know what? Sure, Chairs. I want to know what's in my future." She picks up an orange marble and she looks into it and she goes, "Huh, that's weird." And I get a little bit nervous, all the other marbles were telling me good things. And then she says, "I see you alone in a dark cave and you're screaming your own name." Mind you, she's like 6 years old. Yeah. That is a horrifying...
She's 6 years old and you're alone in a dark cave screaming your own name.
I'm screaming my own... What scenario would call for me screaming my own name? George!
Maybe a doppelganger situation?
Interesting. There's like an evil clone and I'm like...
Yeah. Well, the multiverse is about to open up. Everybody knows that.
Well, actually, multiverses just closed down, so...
IGN has officially posted its lifespan.
It is officially dead. Do you want to go cave diving sometime in the future? I've been getting a lot of those cave diving videos. Yeah. So maybe we could do like a spelunking episode.
You know what? Actually, I was thinking it might be fun if we went in costume. I'll dress up as George.
Oh, and there you go. And it won't be so bad because it's not like
because then we'll be like comfortable.
Yeah.
It'll be like fun because you'll kind of be looking at a reflection of yourself.
Yeah, and it'll be very beautiful and thematic and not at all terrifying.
Yeah. Anyways, welcome back to the Obligatory Podcast.
Welcome back to the Obligatory Podcast. We missed you guys. We missed you guys
dearly.
Yeah, it's been a little bit of a minute. That's on me. I've been busy. I've been busy.
You know what? Whatever.
Life gets in the way. Because
we're back, and George, I heard that we're better than ever.
That's true. That is true. IGN actually just after the multiverses article, they posted an article. Actually, George, can you put it on the screen?
Jamie, can you pull it up?
Yeah, Jamie, can you? Jamie's our new tech person. We have a screen up here.
Post him from Rogan.
Yeah, it's right here. It's Obligatory Podcast, back and better than ever.
Yeah.
Starring George and Forrest.
Forrest and George.
Parentheses from the Obligatory Podcast.
Parentheses, sexy.
Parentheses.
Gone wrong.
Parentheses, introspective.
Parentheses, I want to harp on this marble thing a little bit.
Yeah.
So do you think that, like, the different marbles have, like, the colors of the marbles mean good or bad things? Because, like, she pulls up an orange marble, suddenly it's bad, but the blue marble really and the green marble's good, and, maybe it's like a warm tone, cool tone situation.
I kind of think of it as, like, kind of a Star Wars thing, where, the blue ones, the blue ones are always good.
Yeah.
The blue ones are, like, when she was reading my fortune, the blue one, I get a lot of money. Mm-hmm. The green one is... Actually, I don't really know Star Wars logic that well. I'm assuming it's just kind of like
the
neutral.
Jedi one, right?
It's Jedi?
Well, because the Sith have yellow
red.
and red.
Yeah.
Or no, yellow is like I think yellow is like you're kind of neutral, but you're very against you're like pledged.
Yeah.
That you would fight. I get TikToks about this shit all the time, dude. I'm like not a Star Wars fan.
No, I actually hate Star Wars.
I get TikToks about like the different colors of lightsabers all the time. Okay, so orange is an interesting color apparently because it's a mix between yellow and red.
Wow, really? Really?
And it's for people who are like peaceful and only use their lightsabers as like a last resort.
Interesting.
But it's interesting because it's like yellow means that you've strongly sworn against the Sith and you're for peace or for like the good side, right? But red is obviously the Sith one. Yeah. So maybe it's like an allegory for like different parts and you're scared to use your lightsaber because you don't want to be evil. I don't know.
And then Samuel L. Jackson, he has a purple lightsaber in the prequels. Yeah. Because he asked very nicely to George Lucas.
And I'm sure that has a meaning in the comics or whatever.
Yeah, but I don't care. Recently, I know that there was a lot of controversy because this one character had like a blue lightsaber and then it like turned red, which is not really how. Because
it's the crystals.
The crystals
inside. Because when you're a Padawan, you go to the trials, or you go through the trials, and then you find your lightsaber crystal.
Star Wars is,
and it's a different color, and it's like means something. I don't know if they try to find the color they want, or if like it's like a Green Lantern situation where like the kind of like happens for
if there are any losers watching this video that like know about Star Wars stuff, feel free to leave a comment and we'll take
one of my coworkers just saw Star Wars in theaters and she said that it was a must-see experience to watch it in theaters.
Which one? The first one? Or like the original trilogy?
Like,
or is it
like one of the originals.
Okay.
Because it was like a reshowing happening like somewhere in DC. Yeah. She was like, it was a must-watch experience. It was worth it just for the intro. And I was like...
Just for the scrolling text?
Is it because I don't have to squint my eyes? like, let's be fucking real here.
Yeah. No, I don't know. I find Star Wars to be like incredibly boring and not very... to be fair, I watched all 3 of the films. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. If you hear any noises, it's not because there's twinks in the basement.
You can just let her in. I'll cut this. You can just she'll just go over there and...
Let her in, she'll hang out?
She'll hang out. I mean, it's better than her, like, scratching. And yelping.
All right, Ginger. Special guest episode.
Ginger's
on the podcast. Gingy Girl Ginger on Instagram. If you hear dog noises, it's not the twinks in the basement.
It's not them.
Happy Pride Month, everybody.
It might be me. It might be me whimpering. It might be.
Me and George are known to whimper every now and again.
That's true. I find Star Wars to be incredibly boring and all the lore to be very uninteresting. So all this like lightsaber stuff, very lame. However, if they did have a scene of like Luke Skywalker in a cave by himself screaming his own name, that would be far more
honestly, that seems like something they would do for Anakin. he's like in a cave and he's just screaming Anakin, but he's like Darth Vader at the time.
Yeah. Oh, that would actually go kind of far.
That'd be deep. That'd be really so deep.
No,
I'd be like, I'm 13 and this is deep.
I haven't paid attention to like what the different marbles mean. But I mean, all I know is that every single one has been good other than orange. You know what? I have another funny story about working in the the daycare program. One kid last week, it was absolutely terrifying. He got into a fight with this other kid. And, he started crying because he was losing. Not like a fist fight. It was just, they were just yelling at each other.
A marketplace of ideas situation.
Yeah. And he got so mad, he went over to his desk. And we give out like snacks to the kids, so we gave him apple slices. Right. He took out the apple slices and put them on the table and just started fucking wailing on them.
Oh, he made applesauce.
Yeah, he was just fucking going crazy, like bam. He was playing whack-a-mole with them apple slices. Ginger, stop trying to fight Forrest. Jesus Christ. Ginger, sit.
All right, Ginger. Bye bye. Anyways,
he just started punching the apple slices and. All the kids like stopped what they were doing and just started looking at him because he's screaming.
I'd watch.
He is screaming and he's punching the apple slices and he's going, "Why is everyone in SAC mean to me?" And
out loud?
Out loud. The thing about kids, I mean, you've worked at a summer camp before.
Yeah.
The thing about kids is that they're not gonna hide how they feel. If they're upset, they're gonna let it be known to the world.
Yeah, kids have tantrums. Like they have tantrums because they can.
Yeah, because it's like it's socially acceptable for them. They go, it's socially acceptable for me to cry and punch my apple
I wish that I could crash out.
You know how beautiful it would be for you to just crash out?
I know. I would love to have apple slices in front of me, pounding the shit out of them, being like, "Why is everybody always mean to me?" But I can't do that because apparently I'm an adult.
Well, what if it was filmed, though?
If it was filmed, then it would be okay because it would be like a piece of content.
Yeah.
And it would be like, like everyone would think that it's just me like playing it up.
Well, that's what I thought.
How I feel.
The kid was punching the apple slices. I immediately
honestly,
took out my phone and started filming him. He's like 5.
Because maybe he like was watching YouTube Kids and he was watching someone play like an M-rated game on YouTube Kids and watching them crash out or something.
Yeah, I mean the kids right now are very into brain rot and all of that. So I imagine like when they're scrolling on their TikTok
maybe he learned to crash out.
Yeah, he learned the perfect method to absolutely.
And what a good crash out!
It was the teachers were scared.
It's
the
like
teachers
biblical.
They're like 40, 50 years old. They were like looking and I was talking to them after it was in the morning and they were like, I had never seen a kid do something like that. It was an absolute joy to see on the second day of the job.
Yeah, sometimes you're working with kids and they just have their moments, like it's that, but I'm like the opposite scale. We had a kid shit his pants once and try to get away with it.
Try to get away with it?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
So this was when I was in aftercare as well, as a counselor. Mm-hmm. I was like walking around and all the kids are having like free playtime, like some kids are like playing Legos or like playing Jenga. Mm-hmm. I was kind of like holding down the Giant Connect 4. Kids would love to play me in Giant Connect 4 because I'm somewhat of the GOAT. Yeah. And they would it would be like teams 3 strong against me, which also teams in Connect 4 doesn't help anybody.
No. I let the kids team up with me because I fucking suck at Connect 4 and they've come to learn that.
No. They would all team again. They'd be like a team of 6 against me. And I'm like, you're making this way harder for yourself.
Yeah. It's much better to have like the one mind because with the
and they'd all be like whispering to each other and I'm like, y'all, I can hear you.
Well, no, they think they're sneaky. They think they're sneaky.
They do. That's my favorite thing about them.
Yeah, kids think they're sneaky. This morning, 2 kids hid under a desk and I was like, I see you right there.
I also love to gossip with like 10-year-old girls about who they like.
Oh, it's
because you'll go up to them and you're like, oh, you clearly have a crush on Andrew. And they'll be like, how did you know that? Yeah. And it's because they were singing like a Disney song and using his name in it. It's song? Like they're like...
like Hamilton?
No, I was like very... That movie Luca came out. Oh. When I was taking care of kids.
There are no songs in Luca.
Oh, not Luca. The movie... I don't know, that one that was like, we don't talk about...
Encanto. Mi Encanto.
Yeah.
Mi Encanto.
Yeah. So they were like changing out his name for Bruno.
Oh, I see.
And then giggling to each other. And I'm like, okay, well, fucking clearly you like... I said fucking clearly you like this guy.
Fucking clearly you like this guy.
And then I was like, all right, so tell me about it. And then they did. And it was awesome. And you should do that with your kids. But we had this one kid who tried to get away with shitting his pants because I was like walking around like checking in on everybody. And I like walked past him and I just smelled like so much shit. I smelled so much poop in the diaper. And I'm like...
Wait, how old was he?
Nah, he didn't have a diaper.
Oh, okay.
And I like go up to the other counselor and I'm like, hey, come over here for a second and smell the air.
and then they come over and you're like, I pooped my pants.
I'm like, what kid do you think this is? So we're like subtly walking around the room like smelling. And eventually like we're like both like hovering over this kid, just kind of like squatting down, being like,
just getting closer.
It's definitely him, right? And we go up to him. We're like, hey, can we talk to you for a second? Mm-hmm. And we're like, hey, so did you have an accident? and he bursts into tears.
Oh, that's a sign that he's innocent.
And he was like, yeah, I was hoping nobody would notice. And then like, luckily the other guy helps him get changed and like cleaned up and stuff. Yeah. And then his grandma walks in the moment he steps into the bathroom to pick him up. Yeah. And it's like a special day because his grandma's picking him up.
Oh, that's embarrassing. That's rough.
Yeah.
That's happened to me.
And I had to go up and I was like, hey, so he just had a little accident, but we'll have him right out. Yeah. It was just like rough.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, you never want to be the kid that shat his pants. And you don't want to be the person who like,
because I remember shitting my pants and like getting away with it as a kid a few times.
Well, that was a couple weeks ago when we were hanging out. You shit your pants and you thought you got away. I pointed it out.
When I was at after,
there was like a little bit brown streaks running down your leg. I was like, Forrest, did you diarrhea yourself?
No. For the last time, George, I did not diarrhea myself.
He diarrheaed himself.
I stepped in a muddy puddle. Dear fucking God, dude.
Sorry.
And it didn't smell even.
It reeked. For the audience, it was fucking I also
atrocious. Happened to step in dog poop.
Oh, because you wanted to cover the scent.
No, because that's where the scent was coming from. Is because I stepped in a muddy puddle, and then I also stepped in dog poop. How hard is that to believe, George?
It's pretty rough when I saw it coming out of your butthole, man. I saw it leaking from your pants.
You didn't see anything from my Wonka factory, okay?
Yeah, thank God. I mean, I've only been working there for like a week or so. Thank God none of the kids have had an accident. I don't know what I would do in that scenario.
You'd go up to them and you'd make them cry because you would have noticed.
That's true. Well, I would have picked on them. I would have shoved them into a locker and been like, "Hey, diaper boy."
Yeah, everybody, call him Diapers Daniel.
Diapers Daniel. Yeah, but just get that alliteration in there.
Well, alliteration when you're a kid is kid.
Poopy Paul.
Poopy Paul. Oh, yeah. Dude, if I was called Poopy Paul as a kid, I would have probably killed myself.
Yeah, I would have done.
Yeah, I would have held a world record for being the youngest.
They would have called you Gonorrhea Ganya.
They tried.
Did they?
I mean, yeah, when I was in like middle school, they tried to call me Gonorrhea Ganya, but I didn't let that shit catch on.
Oh, you
they were like,
it. You squashed it quick.
They were like Forrest Gonorrhea, and I was like, that's all you got?
That's, yeah, in the mind of a middle school. Well, it's because middle schoolers, they're filled with so much self-esteem issues.
I know.
So if you tell them, like, if you make them feel stupid, then it squashes all it crushes their worldview. Yeah.
I was like, I'll ruin you for life.
and then they were like, "We'll stop," and you were like, "Thank fucking God!" If that caught on,
phew, man.
If that name caught on I shouldn't.
I know, right?
In middle school,
and I had a spoon ready to gouge out eyes. I was prepared. I had Plan B, obviously.
Well, Forrest, that would have been the perfect time to crash out. You could have similar to how that kid.
Crashing out wasn't in at the time.
It's in now.
Crashing out is absolutely in now.
Yeah.
I feel like it's more in now than it used to be.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I definitely get a lot of videos of, you know what I've been getting a lot of on my TikTok and Instagram Reels. So imagine, Ginger, get down. Imagine like, you know those idiots in cars videos where it's like, someone in front of them like swerves or like drives like curves in and then they don't have their like blinkers on or they're like turning left on a red. I had a friend who did that one time.
Turning left on a red?
She turned left on a red. I was like,
in some states that's legal.
In what states?
Some of them.
Not Virginia, definitely.
No, not Virginia.
I've been getting those types of videos, but instead of like the person who's like merging without their blinker, like being right in front of the guy, it's like 100 feet like away, and the person in the car is like, "Oh my fucking God!" and they start like crashing out because like the person is turning without their blinker, but it's like so far.
But it's like they're the only person on the road.
They're the only person on the road. It could happen in like one of the other lanes, and the guy just starts freaking out and like banging his horn. It's hilarious. That and Charlie Kirk videos. I love watching Charlie Kirk. He's so stupid. 2 different
types of crash out. Yeah. Charlie Kirk is commonly seen yelling and screaming about how you can't say that.
Yeah, especially on X the Everything app. He loves to crash out on that app.
Dude, that's what the app is made for.
It is. Well, that's what X is made for. Twitter was made for something
Twitter was made for beautiful, beautiful drawings of naked dragon girls. But unfortunately, we don't have that anymore.
There's a sub-series of the furry community that draws themselves getting fucked by trucks. Last 2 Christmases
How is that part of the furry community?
Well, it's because they're furries still. They're still drawing themselves as furries, and they're getting
They're
fucked
like
by...
trucker furries?
Yeah, they're trucker
like
furries.
They like live in the South, maybe?
Yeah. Probably. I mean, a lot of sexy trucks down there.
How does the truck fuck you?
Well, they give it a big penis.
Oh, they don't use the pipes?
No. I mean, but then you'd be fucking.
So many pipes.
But then you'd be fucking the truck.
No, but you could just close one up.
Yeah, that's
like.
Fair.
Do you think that? Oh, do you know about have I ever told you about the DC Cucumber Bandit?
No, no, you have not.
All right, George, I'll show you the video after. It's a little bit of an off the pod thing, but basically there was this thing happening in DC where there would just be like cucumbers found stuck in the grills of cars.
Yeah.
And
the grills of cars. Okay.
Yeah, for like a few months. And everyone was like, what the fuck is going on? Like, why is there everyone thought it was just some kind of like prank where there was cucumbers being stuck in grills of cars. Like very harmless, very innocent, whatever.
Best types of pranks. Well, actually worst types of pranks.
Honestly, like a good type of prank, I think.
If there's nothing sexual about the prank, then it's a bad prank.
You're right. A good prank has to go sexual and wrong.
Yeah.
Like when you go up to a girl and you're like, I like your tits. Yeah. And then there's birds behind them.
Nice melons. and
then your friend has melons.
And then the boyfriend is like, yo, what the fuck did you say? And he's like, no, the melons.
No,
and
the guy behind you.
And he goes, ah.
And then nice. You like dab each other up and maybe kiss a little, whatever.
Yeah.
But anyway, so the Cucumber Bandit.
Yeah.
And then a video came out one day, off of like someone's like ring or whatever. And it was this guy. He came out of the door and had a tool bag. like you see contractors with.
Yeah.
He puts it down. He unzips it. He pulls out a cucumber.
Mm-hmm.
He pulls out a cucumber and like a hammer, I think. And then he goes to this car that's in like someone's kind of like driveway. Puts the cucumber in it and like looks around. And then quickly takes off his pants and starts fucking himself on this cucumber.
Oh.
And all the while he's like he's like looking around like pretty guilty.
Like in broad daylight?
Yes, broad daylight. This happens for like 10 seconds. Then he looks around, very quickly pulls his pants up, and then a car drives by. And then you see him walk back to his toolbox, put his hammer away and pick it up and leave.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I was wondering where this was. Wow. Do you think that was the first time you tried it?
No, dude. I think there were cucumbers in people's grills for months.
Do you think people... Oh. That's disgusting.
Yeah.
That's disgusting.
But that's
if he didn't fuck the cucumbers, it would have been a good prank. It would have been awesome.
Yeah.
But now that I know that it's gone sexual, gone
wrong.
Yeah. Now it's a super awesome prank. So I guess it is similar to like that whole like.
But it's similar, because if you're a person who's into, let's get into the nitty gritty of this. Everybody wants us to. If you're into getting fucked by a truck, are you like putting a dildo in the exhaust pipe and like?
Forrest, here's how I know about this. So basically,
maybe you have your friend like move the truck like forward and back.
Oh yeah, get someone else to help out.
Yeah,
and then you like accidentally slam on the brakes.
You accidentally get run over.
Yeah, and it's like awesome, but that's like you're dying doing what you love.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
I had a Christmas party two Christmases ago. Uh-huh. I have it every year with my friends, and half of our friends went out to go like get Taco Bell or whatever, and like the rest of us stayed in the room we were at, and it was like in a public dormitory, and there are like security guards or like the people at the stand who are like checking IDs or whatever. Yeah. And I guess that particular day, that guy got bored. He was bored as shit, so he was just gonna go look around. He literally like, it's okay. We were playing improv games. It wasn't like
so he wanted to stop watching you.
Well, there were no cameras in the room that we were in, at least as far as I know.
Okay.
Like what he said when he walked in on us. Doing a tag, like you like you're doing that. You
yell freeze and then you go.
Yeah, and then you go and you copy the position and you make a scene out of it. Yeah. He walked in, he was like, "Yeah, I'm just fucking bored, going to see what people are doing."
Did you play with him?
I did. I invited him into a round of improv. He was actually pretty good at it. We did this whole scene where like it was a doctor's office and he was Godzilla and I was like giving him like a checkup and he's Godzilla, so he's like super humongous. It was hilarious, and all the people that were still there were like. They were loving it. It was
that
hilarious.
Is awesome. Yeah.
And then he didn't leave. Like we played the round, and then we were like, oh yeah. I was like, yeah, thanks for playing. Uh-huh. And he's like, yeah, no problem. And then he didn't leave, and he was still there, and he just started like talking about how bored he was at his job, and we were like, okay, all right.
That's concerning.
It is concerning. This guy has a job to do. People could be walking into this building with like weapons.
And his job is so easy. He could just like watch like Netflix.
Well, that's what he does.
Yeah, I know. That's what all of them do.
As someone who's walked by
every night when I leave my job, I go through like the lobby of this building that we're in, and every night the security guard pauses his show
to see like what's going on with you.
Yeah, at some point he stopped pausing his show like a few months ago.
Well,
he was like, "Yeah, fucking whatever."
It's a quick look up. You can keep watching. I don't know, Hunter x Hunter. Or
like, don't have to be worried about like because I see you every day. You know what I mean?
He knows you. He knows you're not gonna punch him in the face or something.
Yeah, they're also very invested in all my friendships, but.
Yeah, so he, he's just kind of chilling there. Mm-hmm. And, I'm making pleasant conversation. And then he starts talking about, like, his rapping and his music.
Incredible.
And, it's like, okay, this is an interest. We're talking about it.
Sure.
And then he's like, yeah, I can play some for you if you want. So he pulls out his phone and plays, like, tapes that he has on, like, SoundCloud.
Oh,
like,
amazing.
He's a SoundCloud rapper.
Yeah, that's what you want.
And he starts playing it. Forrest. He was running away from the beat.
Oh.
He was running away from the beat. The beats were incredible. They were made by his friend. It was the rapping that was the problem.
Well, unfortunately, he is not his friend.
And we just imagine like a room of 5 people who are like pretending to like this guy's music and like nodding our head. And if we make eye contact with each other, we're gonna laugh. Yeah. We're gonna laugh in this guy's face. And he's just like standing there and he's like bumping his head and he's like kind of mouthing along to it. Yeah. You were gonna say something? Yeah, when I was in college, there was this one guy, I'll remain unnamed, who was trying to start rapping, as like a real thing, and he was like, "Oh, Forrest knows about music. I'll like get him to listen." Yeah. He got me. We had these tiny little computer rooms in every dorm, so he traps me in one of those. I'm talking like it's the size of like this table, basically. Yeah, it's like the size of like a car. Like it's not a big room. Yeah, it fits a table and like 2 computers. Mm-hmm. We're in there, and he's like, "All right, so here's what I got, but I don't have it recorded, so I'll just rap it for you." The guy that I'm talking about, he did that afterwards too. Yeah, and he was like, rapping, lyrics that you clearly write when you're in a very emotional state, but you haven't really figured out how like the music goes yet. Mm-hmm. And he was like playing beats off his phone that he found on YouTube, but then rapping like kind of to the beat. And he was like, "All right, so what do you think?" And I was like, yeah, dude, there's like a lot here. I feel like maybe the lyrics don't line up with the beat that well. And he's like, "Yeah, I mean, the lyrics are what I'm really proud of." So fuck the beat. It's the words. You should just tell him like he's a lyrical rapper, you know, but like his lyrics are like, "My girl left me, now I'm sad. Oh yeah." Wow, Forrest, that was deep. If that's the shit he's pumping out, fuck the beat. Forget about the beat. You should tell him to get into slam poetry. If the lyrics are like it's a good point, what's really important to him, he could just ignore the beat completely and just like freestyle a slam poetry set. I'll give him feedback. It's been a few years, but I'll give him. Shoot him a quick message. I'm sure you guys talk all the time, so shoot him a quick message. Telling him to get into slam poetry instead of that whack ass music shit. Yeah. But yeah, he played us his music. Then after he was like done with the tracks he already had done, he started playing the instrumentals and started like rapping in front of us. That was even harder to keep a straight face. Because then he's like kind of performing but like shy, so he's like not really performing. Oh yeah, he's doing that thing where he's like, and he's giving him a lot of eye contact. Like he's like not putting his whole effort into it because he's trying to get that rapper persona. He's trying to be like a little bit laid back. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Ginger. And then afterwards he ran out of beats and he just started reading off his lyrics. And that was the first time that I actually like got to understand what he was saying, which is crazy. Yeah, he was like, "I dress up like a cow and I let the trucks fuck me." Then he was done with that conversation. Then he started talking to us about his art. Like he started making physical art. No. Or at least that's what I thought. I thought it was physical art. It was actually AI art. So amazing. It was really awesome. And all the people that I was like left with, they were all art majors. Yeah. Like painting or like comm arts or whatever. And they found that conversation extremely excruciating. Yeah. Then just out of nowhere, the guy's like, "You ever just think like, yeah, maybe I'd be a furry?" And it's like, whoa, that's quite the bold statement to just kind of throw into a conversation. We're like 30 minutes in. This is an hour in. So he really knows you. Yeah, so we're really close at this point. Then he starts talking about like, he lives at his mom's place and like she's asleep next to him and he's next to him. Yeah, she's asleep next to him and he's like watching anime and like a furry character like walks on and he's like, "I might be a furry," and he's like trying to like he's saying it to try to like get us like to say, "Yeah, me too." Yeah, me too, which none of us were having. Then he started talking about Star Wars. People who love Star Wars that hear someone else doesn't like Star Wars love to be like, "You need to watch this though." Yeah. And they think like their favorite thing. You do need to watch Clone Wars. Yeah, that's what he was saying. He was saying you gotta watch Clone Wars and then you have to watch Andor season 2, not season 1, season 2. Only season 2. Yeah, and it's like what are we talking about? And Mandalorian. But anyways, after when he brought up the furries and how he might be a furry, that's when he brought up getting fucked by trucks and getting fucked by dragons. Yeah, I know. Wow. What's in your brain? I assume his AI art is of him being a furry. No, his AI art is of landscapes. What the fuck? Just do photography. Yeah, I mean, a quick Google search will just completely obliterate that dream. Like any of landscapes. It's all landscapes. It's
that is the lamest shit to AI.
That's what I'm saying. If you're gonna AI create anything, the fucking nature, I can go outside and see that shit in real life. If you
want to AI create art and you also want to get fucked by a dragon, AI create that.
Yeah. That would be
better than a landscape.
It would be more creative than a landscape.
Also, what do you trucks and that's such a large variety. Maybe he just wants something that is more powerful.
Yeah, I don't know. It felt like an It's Always Sunny like bit. You know what I mean? Where it's like Dennis and Charlie and Mac are like in the barn. They get like trapped by this one guy who's like, you guys ever think about fucking dragons?
Yeah.
Well, Charlie would be really into that,
like,
actually.
Oh yeah, dude, fucking dragons.
That would actually be incredible. Actually,
I was thinking about that last night.
Fucking dragons and trolls. What would be the best mythical creature to fuck? Actually, we're saving that for a different episode.
Best mythical creature to fuck? No,
Nymph is lame. You can't say nymph.
Yeah, because there's a lot that are like already kind of made to fuck. Like Siren.
The druid.
The druid's not made to fuck.
Druid's made to fuck.
All right.
The one in Terraria is.
Okay. I mean, if that's your opinion.
Yeah.
Griffins are made to fuck.
Goblins are made to fuck.
Goblins are made to fuck. Probably ogres are made to fuck.
Yeah, definitely ogres.
It's unfair because most of them are made to fuck. Here's the real question. Would you prefer mermaid, top half fish, bottom half human, or bottom half fish, top half human? Go.
Can they both be fish? Can I just fuck a fish?
Can I please?
Can I please fuck a fish? Would anyone get mad at me for fucking a fish? Is anybody
gonna let me fuck a fish?
Anyone?
Anyway, have you seen the way that they blow up?
If there are any fish watching, hit me up.
Right down here is my phone number.
Yeah, on the screen is Forrest's actual phone number that I'm putting on screen.
Please hit me up.
Yeah.
I've been...
Really just any aquatic life.
Yeah. Octopus?
Yeah.
That's for sure.
The octopus would be a good one.
Squid, squirt that ink.
Yeah, squirt that ink. The sea urchin, put up the butt.
Sea urchin, I don't mind a spike.
I don't mind getting a little bit.
Clownfish, tell me a joke first.
Yeah, hey, listen, I love to laugh during sex.
Yeah.
And apparently so do the people I have sex with, because they just be laughing and laughing and laughing.
Nothing better than cracking a good one during sex.
Speaking of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, we kind of skipped over that a little bit.
Sorry. Got distracted.
Yeah. I recently directed a production of
like an anglerfish could be interesting.
Oh, with the light?
Yeah.
Would the light be hot, do you think?
Well, you turn the lights off and then you let the bioluminescent shine.
You know, I used to think that anglerfish were like really huge. Come to find out, they're teeny tiny.
Really?
They're really small.
Interesting.
Like they're still like scary looking, but like Finding Nemo definitely tarnished or overhyped the anglerfish.
Yeah.
It's actually.
All right. Anyway, so It's Always Sunny.
Yeah, It's Always Sunny. The Nightman Cometh.
Yeah.
One of the best episodes.
The blobfish has nice looking lips.
Oh. You actually, here's another marine fact that I learned recently. The blobfish doesn't look like that underwater. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so for the audience who doesn't know this fact, because Forrest is a fucking dick and won't let me share my awesome knowledge with the world, the blobfish actually doesn't look like that, you know, underwater. Because they're so far, like, under the sea, when they get pulled up, like the pressure from going up so high like squashes them down. They're actually very pleasant looking fish.
They're actually quite beautiful.
They're quite people they could be like mermaids. You know what I mean? 'Cause they got the face and the proboscis. But back to It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, one of my favorite sitcoms. I just directed a production.
The crab would clench quite nicely.
Oh yes, you actually like it clamping down on my penis would actually feel pretty good.
Yeah, like kind of like a nipple clamp.
Yeah, maybe a hermit crab. You know, I take the shell and I just kind of like finagle it in there, and then the crab starts playing with my penis like a recorder. Anyway, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
And
Dennis
I'm always
Reynolds.
Thinking about dolphins.
Come on, that's obvious. They got the blowhole. They got the extra orifice.
Dude, I know.
And speaking of orcas, talk about them.
A killer whale, more like killer in bed whale.
That's what they call them.
Am I right, guys?
That's what they call that one pink one.
Yeah, more like fill her whale.
Anyways.
Sorry.
It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. The Nightman Cometh. Forrest saw it.
I did. Yeah, I saw it. It was honestly a very good production, very unexpected from my end. I didn't really know what to think of. Think of it when I was
driving
told that I'm doing the Nightman Cometh.
Yeah,
because in the show, it's shown in like kind of this like shitty like auditorium, maybe like a cafeteria with a stage in middle school
it's
type
like,
vibe.
Middle school, like a Into the Woods Junior type of stage.
Yeah, and I get to the place and they're doing it in like a lecture room, like a lecture classroom, which actually I think fit the vibe of the show like very well.
Yeah, it's the actual stage part was very tiny, which like at first was like what are we gonna do with this? But I actually think it lended itself really well to the overall awkward dynamics.
For those who don't know what the show is,
tell them.
The Nightman Cometh is a like episode special in It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, where Charlie Day, writes a play, a musical.
He writes a musical seemingly for no reason.
For no reason except that he loves to share his artistic vision.
That's true.
And the episode kind of just happens around that. He casts his friends in it. He gets, it's like, you see all your favorite characters. They're obviously always fighting about which roles they want to be.
Yeah, they all want the spotlight.
They all have a lot of opinions about the show. And Charlie has written this beautiful masterpiece with maybe a few weird underlying tones. And maybe a few inappropriate ideas. Yeah,
you start to think about the show a little bit and like what it means for the Charlie character, and it starts like to crumble. But like you see it, it's like this is hilarious.
But basically, the show is about the Nightman Cometh, who is our villain.
Yeah, bad guy.
We don't like the Nightman. But luckily there is, of course, the Dayman.
Oh yeah, I love that guy though.
The Dayman is somewhat of our hero here, and there's a love interest and there's a princess, and there's a kind of like an ogre under the bridge.
Yeah, ogre troll
under the bridge, kind of like guarding.
Yeah.
You have to pay the toll.
Yeah, you got to pay the troll toll to get into the boy's soul. Yeah.
Sorry, the boy's what?
The boy's hole. The boy's hole.
The boy's soul.
That's what I said. Boy's hole.
When you say it that fast, it just sounds.
He's paying the troll toll to get into the boy's hole.
Oh, that makes sense. You have to pay the troll toll.
Well, I'm dragging the S, so it sounds like hole.
But that's the problem.
Well, it adds flavor. It adds extra flavor to the show.
I'm sure there's a lot of flavor in this boy's hole.
It's quite scrumptious. He's paying the troll every night.
Every night?
Yeah, that's. Do
you think the troll has like a very good business model?
The Nightman, highest paying customer. He comes in. He gets a taste of that boy's soul.
Right.
Yeah, it's like an every night thing.
There's a beautiful sex scene.
That's what the boy talks about in the monologue.
There's a beautiful sex scene in the show as well.
There is. It's a love-making scene.
Many songs.
Yeah, lots of songs of awesome quality.
Yeah.
But I put on that show at VCU. It was a wonderful experience to get back in the director's seat with actual actors. Yeah. This time,
George's real directorial debut.
Yeah, which when I pitched the show to Doomsday, the musical theater company, they did bring up George's Lunch Food Review. They're like, you do have directing experience with George's Lunch Food Review, the movie.
It's true. But that was you were more of a co-director, kind of on the backseat.
Yeah, I was kind of backseat while you were actually in the main director's seat.
Yeah,
a lot of people don't know about the secret director in most Hollywood movies.
I wasn't credited, but
no. You actually were begging us to take your name off the director's list, before the movie came out. We were like, we don't know why, but we'll do it for him.
I thought that was very kind. Yeah. I just wanted to be the best boy.
Yeah, you did.
Best boy grip.
You did really want to be. You were the best boy gripper.
The best. I have the best boy grip known to man. Somebody tell the Nightman.
But I put on The Nightman Cometh with a very talented cast. It was so much fun for us. There's not a lot of stories. I just wanted to just say that my cast is absolutely wonderful. Everyone was cast phenomenally. Yeah. They all brought. I say this. I said this a lot after the show came out and we were talking about it like in class, but I feel like very quickly my job as a director was kind of obsolete because I got them in the mindset of like, you can do literally whatever you want in this show, as long as it. Ginger, get down. You're ruining the audio quality. As long as it like. You could justify it. Yeah. Any choice you did, especially in a show that's a play within a play. Yeah. For the seasoned It's Always Sunny viewers in the audience, we did an adaptation of the live version of the episode. They had the show, the episode came out in 2010. The episode was so popular that they actually brought it, on stage and like went to a few cities. And they're just like, anyone who wants to do the show, just go on and fucking do it. Yeah. Which is
really cool.
I mean, they never like copyrighted the live version. Yeah. And like they've even been like, yeah, we saw this production, do it. It was fucking hype. Yeah. I watched a lot of it. It's
almost never shown as well. So it's kind of like one of those things where I saw that it was happening and I'm like, oh, I gotta show
VCU did it like one time in 2017, but it's like it's not a show that like gets done often because it's not on niche. It's not on Broadway. Yeah, obviously it's not being brought to schools because that would be a disaster.
It's super inappropriate.
You would have to change up the entire show actually. So like these little like off official teams is where you have a chance to see it. So I don't know. I just. I was joking with Kay, actually. You guys have met Kay. She's the she was the president of Doomsday. She's graduated now, so she's no longer affiliated.
Big, beautiful bill for the Doomsday.
Yeah, she had I had a big, beautiful pitch for Doomsday. I went, pretty please let me do this show. Yeah. And they went, okay. And they took a big chance on me because I don't know fuck all about music. Right. Which is, I think, fine for this show because
I think that Charlie knows a lot about music, actually. Yeah. But the rest of them don't know fuck all about music anyway.
So, yeah, it doesn't matter if they're good or bad singers. They have to be bad because they're...
Actually, if you're a good singer, it really takes away from the show.
That was one of the biggest notes that I had to give throughout the process. A couple of the people, like the actress who played Dee Robin and the actress who played Waitress and Delia and whatnot, they were all, like, they knew how to sing.
You can't show genuine talent.
That was what I told them. RD, like, she would sing and I'd be like, you have to do it worse. Because she's been singing like all her life, and she'd sing and it's like, it sounds gorgeous, it's heavenly, and I'm like, I'm so sorry, I need it to be bad. But also, and then we'd like, she'd do it again, I'd be like, I need it a little bit worse. And then she'd be like, she's so talented, she's having a hard time like unlearning like all the things that she's like put in the muscle memory to sing to be bad for this role. Like I wanted Dee singing to be at a 3. Yeah. Which is one higher than all the other characters.
Exactly.
which is exactly what I mean. Dee in the original episode actually has a pretty good voice, but I didn't like that. I wanted her to have
I think she shouldn't have a good voice, and also it takes a lot of confidence as an actor or a performer to be like, I'm going to do a bad job, and that's okay. I don't need to show these people that I can.
I think it's scary because, like, if they go out there and are purposefully bad and it doesn't get laughs, then it's like...
It's just oh, you were bad.
People everywhere, actually, not just, like, actors, have this thing where they don't want to, like... If they don't want to try super hard, because if they do and it doesn't go well, then it's bad. So they won't try super hard, but they don't want to be like so bad that it's funny, because then if it's not funny, then they were just bad. Yeah. But I had to like scrub that out of like the actor's head of like, you just need to like, this is gonna be funny.
It will be funny.
This is a funny show. Just trust the text and make a choice, and it's gonna hit. And it hit.
Everything hit. Yeah, and it's also interesting to watch this show because It's Always Sunny characters are so like set. Yeah. Like, when you think of Dennis, or you think of Charlie, or you think of Mac, like, you think of those guys.
Yeah, when you think of Frank, because that's Danny DeVito.
You've been watching them on TV for, I don't know, like 12 years, right? Yeah. And they write the show, and they play them perfectly because they write the show. You know what I mean? It's just like, they're so set. So... Coming in and watching other people portray the characters was so fucking weird. Yeah. For like a while. For like the first like 20 minutes of the show, I was like, this is hard to wrap my head around.
Because the first 20 minutes for the uninitiated, the first 20 minutes is like the actual episode where they're like rehearsing for the show. Like they're actually like, that was the only time I was like, you guys have permission to be good actors here. Yes. Like actually be these people and like have these earnest reactions to these crazy things. Boys hole, what does that mean? I'm a princess who's in love with a little boy? What the hell? Yeah. And that's like you're actually like a real person. But then once you like get into the show, you're this stupid, like untalented mess. And it's gonna be hilarious.
Yeah, which is still being a good actor.
Yeah, it's knowing like what traits, I asked this question, or I posed this question to the cast, the very first like rehearsal of like, start thinking about what makes an actor bad. Like, what are some traits that a bad actor would do? One thing that I suggested to them is when you're saying a line, you look at the audience, and then when you're not speaking, be uninterested. Don't care about what's
just kind of like hang out on stage, what's like looking down at the floor.
Yeah, you would say a line like you're going for a laugh instead of like saying it like it's an actual earnest thought that this troll is thinking. Yeah, you're saying, my toesy woesy woes, and you're like goading the audience, like, hey, laugh at what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Which makes it like not funny, but then at the same time it makes it really funny because you know exactly what it's going for.
It's a hard balance to strike.
And you brought up seeing these like actors portray these like beloved characters. It's Always Sunny, longest lasting sitcom, like live action sitcom of all time.
Yeah.
It's been going on for like 16, 17-ish years or so.
That's insane.
Which is great. And
they're still making bangers.
Yeah, I mean they're coming out with a new season, I think next month.
Yeah, but their seasons are short now.
Yeah, I don't like that. I mean, the seasons have always been like kind of short, like 10
They've
episodes.
just gotten shorter and shorter.
Yeah, which I think is lame.
I guess the actors are busier now.
Yeah, they're in other shows, but it's but it's still just like an overall trend with shows right now, which is
but the thing is that episodes are longer, but the It's Always Sunny episodes are not longer. Yeah. They're just literally making less content.
Yeah,
but it's because it's not their only gig now.
Yeah,
that's okay.
They have other passions that they're pursuing, which makes sense. Yeah. Rob McElhenney, creator of the show, he says that he wants to keep Sunny going for like even longer.
Yeah, I think honestly they're just making they're kind of at this point not necessarily phoning it in, but creating a lot less work for themselves so that they can maintain this title of having like the longest thing. Mm-hmm. And because they still love it, and luckily the fan base is just like kind of chill with that.
Yeah, I mean it's even if like these episodes aren't as good as like a lot of the older episodes.
A lot of the episodes are still very good.
They're I mean it's Always Sunny. Like a bad It's Always Sunny episode is better than a lot of other like sitcoms.
Like I think Dennis's Mental Health Day is like one of the best episodes they've made.
That episode is
ever.
really good.
Like they're still making bangers, but they're just making like 8 episodes a year now instead of 22. Yeah, which is okay.
But I was saying that because that was another thing that I tried to like get out of the actor's head was these like, because I mean as an actor I see actors as like a tool to get to like to help out a product instead of like the main attraction. That's why I'm kind of like tired of all these like celebrity castings in these like big movies. Like Chris Pratt as Mario, like no universe was he like the best choice for Mario, but since he's a big name, people come in. And it creates the stigma that like, oh, Ryan Reynolds is like the only person that can play Deadpool. You know what I mean? Right. But I don't like. There are probably tons of other actors out there who could play just as good, if not better, Deadpools. Mm-hmm. So I tried at the beginning to like. I tried and succeeded at the beginning to get them to like create these characters in like on their own, like develop these characters on their own instead of basing it on the TV show. Of course, they were welcome to like pull aspects.
You have to take aspects. Yeah.
Like
there's just so much.
Yeah, the person who played Charlie, his name is Harrison. He, incorporated Charlie's like high voice and inflections, but he still made a lot of like choices that like that's Harrison's Charlie. That's not Charlie Day's Charlie.
Which is important as well, because like nobody's going there to watch Charlie Day. Yeah, because Charlie Day's not there.
Yeah, that's what I was worried about. I was worried that people would like go in to see this and be like, they're not doing everything the actors were doing. Yeah, so this is bad. But it wasn't the case. They were all making such beautiful choices. Again, after the first week, after I was just like, make choices, do dumb shit, it literally doesn't matter. I'll tell you what works and what doesn't work. Mm-hmm. They started flying. And my job as a director was just kind of being like, I like that, keep that. Yep. Or I don't like that, get rid of that. Or being like, hey, maybe you might want to do this. Like for a while, Frank, he's talking about the boy's hole.
The boy's soul.
Yeah, he's talking about the boy's hole. And, he's like making like a motion, like representing the boy's hole. And he's like reaching in to like grab something within his anus and like pull it out. The whole of the when it's in his butt. Okay. And I actually was thinking about you a little bit because he was making that motion. I was like, it'd be really funny if he goat-seed the audience, like made a goat-seeing motion, and he did it. Like he put his fingers together and spread imaginary cheeks when he was talking about
kind of how like a Lego person would probably get in there.
Yeah, like a Lego person like opening up like a shower curtain. Yeah, that is exactly the motion that he did, and then he even did like a it's Johnny, kind of like The Shining, and like poked his head inside of the boy's hole, and it was like a really beautiful choice. Yeah, I'm just very happy. Forrest, you came down to see it.
Yeah, I came down to see it. I loved it. I thought it was like, I've never seen something that was in like a lecture room before, or like that, like, I don't know the right word. Well, I guess like that, like small.
Yeah, it was a small stage. A lot of aisle work.
Yeah,
a lot of aisle work.
I really liked the way that the set was done, and like it utilized like the boards in the back. I thought it was just like the right amount of shitty.
Yeah, that's what I was going for.
Which is a perfect thing to strike, right? Because if you're dealt kind of this hand and you're like, well, it has to be shitty, instead of being like, oh no, what do I do? You're like, okay, so
I'm gonna lean into that.
I have to lean into it because it's your only option.
I mean, but
also because the show basically begs for you to lean into it.
Yeah, the characters have these clunky, uncomfortable lines, and like, you know, they're acting like really stiff and stilted, and they're doing these really absurd things. Like, it calls for like a set that's made out of cardboard and and like has like crayon drawings in the background. My set designers had an absolute field day, like just kind of like, I told them, just like, draw whatever you fucking want on this back wall. And again, if it works, it works. If it doesn't, I'll let you know. Yeah. And they were like drawing like little houses and like stick figures. And it's like, this is exactly the type of shit that Charlie would make.
Because it comes from Charlie's mind. So it's like...
anything is fair game.
Anything is fair game. This guy huffs paint for like most of his life.
I told them draw a worm hat. And they were like, what's a worm hat? And they started Googling it. I went, no. Don't Google it. Draw whatever you think a worm hat is.
Yeah. And then this guy doesn't know how to spell words.
Yeah, he doesn't know how to spell.
When he writes the play, he gives it to someone else to translate. To put it in a literate way. Yeah. Like, he literally gets a secondhand source to put words to it. Yeah.
That's how stupid this character
is. Like, this guy probably rolled up with like a bunch of weird scribbles.
Yeah, well, in the because we had an actual like script made of these scribbles, and like it was like pictures of Spider-Man and you know, Dayman and Nightman fighting, and it's like pow pow, and it's like there's no story there. Like, this is Artemis made up like a lot of the show, which is, I mean, just absolutely beautiful. And the songs, in the live version, there's like extra songs added, and I don't know. Did you have a favorite song from the show? They're all like shitty, but actually like really catchy, and they stick in your head. They're all good. They're good songs.
I mean,
Charlie's good at writing music.
Is it lame to say the boy's hole?
The troll toe. You gotta play the troll toe.
I like that song. I think like the Dayman song is just kind of the song.
That's. I mean, it's the best sounding. It's one that originates actually outside of the original episode. Like they made that song like a season or two beforehand, and then brought it back for this episode.
Yes. And I also, you know, as Dennis is my favorite character. I like that.
You like that? You like what? The Dayman song?
Yeah, I do.
Dennis is your favorite character? You know, actually, I've been saying for a really long time, Forrest, that you kind of kin Dennis. You kind of kin Dennis.
I'm ready to admit that Dennis Reynolds is my second kin right after Superman.
I'm
ready to admit that.
Forrest, that's my kin. Superman is my kin.
We can have the same kin. We get along.
That's true. We are basically the same.
Yeah. No, but for real though, my first kin is probably like Crypto the Super Dog.
I'm like Superman, and you're like my little pet.
I'm like Crypto the Super Dog, and I want to get fucked by a truck. So what?
Yeah, sue him.
So what? Do you guys, like, on a real note, do you guys ever feel like maybe you could be a furry?
Maybe you could be a super dog who wants to get pounded in the ass by a... Do you guys ever feel that way? Because Crypto could... A cucumber? A zucchini?
Because Crypto could take it.
Yeah.
You know?
He could probably give it out, too.
Crypto? Oh my god, no. Crypto is a massive dog dick.
Yeah, okay.
Sorry.
Okay, it's probably not massive.
We gotta stop.
It's probably not massive.
Mostly, the point is that I just think Dennis Reynolds is the best character on the show, and like, you know, like he says things, and I feel like he just makes sense. You
understand it. I mean, get him. Glenn Howerton. My favorite character is Charlie. That's
it's like a layup, right?
That's who I feel is the funniest, and that's who I relate to the most as a person who's really into like orcs and trolls and princesses and whatnot. But I do have to admit that Dennis is like.
I think he's the funniest.
He's the funniest character. Glenn Howerton. I mean, he went to Juilliard. He's classically trained. That's like
he plays him so well. I always like this kind of character in sitcoms. You know, like in How I Met Your Mother, I like Barney Stinson. Mm-hmm. You know, like this like
proper,
like morally ambiguous, definitely a bad guy, like womanizer character. Yeah, but is always. Like very funny.
That character that like you love in a show, but if you knew them in real life,
oh my god, you hate
them.
Be
the worst.
Yes, you love to watch him.
Yeah,
you love to watch him until you think about what he's doing, and then you're like, oh, that's
weird.
That's weird, and it's also a fine line to walk as a writer, right? Like it's when you're writing like the Dennis System episode.
Yeah.
or you're writing about the implications.
Yeah.
That's a very fine line to walk. That's hard to be like... It's hard to make feel okay for the viewer to enjoy. Yeah. When you're sitting there watching Dennis go, well, I mean, she'll be on the boat and, well, she won't say no.
Yeah.
Because of the implications.
It only works because the other people around him are like, what the hell are you talking about?
Dennis, are you going to hurt this man or this woman? No.
And then he like
it's just the implications.
And he looks over at an old lady and he goes, oh, don't worry, you won't be in any trouble. Yeah. And then Matt goes, so they are in trouble. So he's like, no one's in trouble.
Nobody's in trouble.
Yeah.
You know, and like, I think that kind of humor is just really funny, and it's very impressive to me. I think that's also why a lot of the time they're my favorite characters. It's like so impressive to me.
Because they're able, because like, you know, even nowadays, you know, with this whole like cancel culture thing going on, you watch these episodes and you're like, this is the shit.
Because there's a good way to write it.
Yeah.
Right? There's like a sensitive way to write it. And it has to be that everybody else around you is like, dude.
Yeah.
Dude, what?
Yeah, if they wrote the implication scene and Mac and Charlie were like, dude, fuck yeah, you're the man, Dennis.
Same with the Dennis system, though, right? Like, they all, in that episode, they all try the Dennis system and it doesn't work for any of them because it's fucking crazy.
Yeah, well, it's because they all know it's like, this is weird, but they're like, oh, this must work, so they like,
they'll
take
try
it so
and women
literally.
Get mad at them.
Yeah, well, because he goes like, oh, I did it, like, Mac is like in front of like the person he's trying to Dennis system, he's like, oh, I fucked it up, which one comes first? So I separate now, or do I do that later? And it's like, you can't say that in front of the date.
But, you know, you see this, like, insane, manipulative puppet mastermind guy be like, oh, yes, the Dennis system. And it works for him.
Yeah.
And he, you know, not good for him. Not good for anybody.
No.
But it's good to watch.
You know, I actually have something that I want to complain about in regards to It's Always Sunny. When I was telling people, well, when the show was first announced, people would ask me, like, oh, you know, what's It's Always Sunny about? Like, some people, like, that's just not the type of show to watch, so I would explain it to them. And one of my dear good friends, love him to death, talked about how much he hated the show. And you know, he's black, and whatnot. And in the first episode of It's Always Sunny...
and whatnot.
He's black and whatnot. And in the first episode of It's Always Sunny, you know, they say the N-word. And he's just like, I couldn't get past that, you know. It's just like these white guys are writing themselves say the N-word. Like, what's up with that? Like, how could that be funny? Guess what this person's like favorite show is? South Park.
Oh, what?
Exactly.
That show is, I mean, I've never really watched it, but my impression of that show is that it's written less delicately than It's Always Sunny.
It's because like It's Always Sunny very clearly is like poking fun at these types of people that like say these slurs and like do these like horrible things, because at the very end they're always the one who's getting like fucked in the ass. In South Park, Eric like, and also they don't think that they're bad people.
It's Always Sunny is a show about watching like 5 bad people be the worst and their life going bad because of it.
It was literally written as the anti-Friends. The original name of the show was going to be called Jerks, as like an antithesis to Friends. Yeah, these people who like will do anything to like put that, like get ahead of everyone in their lives.
Yeah, including each other.
Including each other. Like one of the big things that I was talking about with the cast is like, especially with Charlie, actually specifically with Charlie, is like, how much do you care about like this group of people to like cast them in this show, and like, do you care about the waitress more? Like who, if one's in trouble, like who are you gonna go to first? And like we kind of came to the conclusion that he would go to the gang, but like, if it was his ass on the line, he would like fuck them over in an instant. And that's kind of like the point of the show, is that like they're like, everyone else sucks except for this group, and then everyone in this group sucks except for them. And they all think that.
Yes, they all think that to their core. But also they love each other.
It's well, I mean, do you think they love each other? Because I
don't think they're capable.
Yeah, that's what I think.
You know, I think that when it comes down to it, all they have is each other. Yeah. And so they have no option but to quote unquote love each other. Yeah. But all of their lives suck. Everybody in their lives hates them. Except for these 4 other people.
Yeah. And even sometimes they hate each other.
And they hate each other, but at the end of the day, they know they can't, because those are the only people they have.
Yeah, those are the people that actually, like, get what they're talking about most of the time. When they're talking about
they're the only people who are equally shitty. Yeah. And will indulge each other. Yeah. And a lot of the time, they're just in a similar enough setting for it to, like, they have to be friends. Like, they own a bar together.
They have to be
okay.
Yeah.
it's time.
Yeah.
Time to see you every day. You know what I mean? It's like when you have like coworkers and stuff that you see every day, you're not going to like outwardly dislike them.
Yeah.
You know, or if you have like disputes with them, you're going to solve it because you have to see them.
But that's like, but like the point of the show is that like they have these terrible people and they're like pushing these agendas by making these main characters always wrong. They're always wrong and stupid and assholes. And you see them, you're like, those guys are dumb, stupid assholes. And these normal people, like these people that like at the time were considered like socially outcasts or weird, they make them look like they're good. And these people that like are considered like normal are bad. If that makes sense, you know, they're racist and whatnot. Yeah. And then you see that and you're like, oh, I feel bad for these guys. So this ideology that these people have is like bad. Yeah. And it converts a lot of people. But with South Park, they kind of don't. They do this thing where they quote unquote poke fun at both sides. They do that whole poking fun at both sides thing. South Park is
like a shock comedy show.
Yeah, and like Eric Cartman, who's usually at the forefront of this, revels in the fact that he's evil. Like he knows what he's doing is wrong, and that like kind of makes him more endearing. So the points that he's making are easier to root for because he knows what he's doing, and he's like, this is wrong, but I don't care.
It concerns me when people kin that show and shit like that. When I see like people like reposting, they're like, Eric's my guy, and I'm like, really?
Yeah, Kenny's my guy. Butters is my guy. Those guys are nice. I don't love the show. But like of the characters, those two are like actually like cool people. Sure. But like, you know, my friend was like, oh, they said the N-word, but like in South Park, they voice their own characters. They write the show. There are multiple episodes. Actually, there are tens of hundreds of episodes and a game where they're like saying the N-word, and it's like you're picking and choosing your battles here. I just wanted to complain about that. I've had that in my head like
I think that a lot of people see that as okay because there's people who are good in the show, right?
I think they see it as okay because it's a cartoon.
Because it's a cartoon, sure. That makes sense. But I think why It's Always Sunny is good is because it's just like people just like feeding into each other. And it's honestly such an accurate representation of what some people are like. Yeah. Right? Like this is what happens, you know? Like people will just feed into each other and get like more and more extreme in their ideals, and it's like, okay, now we started at point A and we're all the way at point like Z, because sometimes, dude, have you ever been in an Uber where the guy just talks at you? And whenever that happens to me, I'm like, okay, this is my in. I'm gonna try and get this guy to say crazy shit. And the only way to do that is to feed into him. You know, so like Ubers will talk at me and I'll be like, yeah, man, it's fucking crazy. And then I'll drop like, I'll drop feelers in the conversation. I'll be like, luckily these days it's getting better. You know? And you like,
now we got someone on our side in the office.
And you like feed into it. And by the end of the Uber, they're like, dude, and honestly, just like, fuck every immigrant. And you're like, whoa. You're like, wow, this is like how you feel.
5 stars, $20 tip.
Right?
That's what Forrest is like.
And I'm like, well, this is how you feel, and this is all it took, is for me to feed into you this, like, a tiny bit, because you have it all, like, it's just, like, in your head. It's just, like, on repeat in your head.
You know what one of the unwritten rules about It's Always Sunny is that if a person is around the gang long enough, they start to get worse, like, most notably, Rickety Cricket, you know, he started as a pastor and, you know, was, like, very clean-cut and very kind, and then you know, you see him at the beginning of the series, and then you see him at the end, who's like homeless and like has
like lost an eye,
and I was like, he talks like this, and he sucks on lemons, and he, you know, he's like making out with dogs and whatnot. It's like this is what being around these people like does to people. Yes, and it's that's how it pushes its ideology, because like all, you know, you listen to like the podcast and you know the lives of like. You know, they're very open about their political opinions, the cast, like, outside of the show. Extremely leftist, extremely democratic. Yeah. And of course they are, because you kind of have to be to write that, right? To write episodes that witty. If you were a white guy, a white writer, who just wants to say the N-word, there's so many ways to go about it, and the way you would go about it is not, like... making yourself look like the idiot and the asshole. Yeah. If you want to, if I was a white guy, let's say hypothetically, I was a 100% white guy and I was in Hollywood and I wanted to write scripts with the N-word in it, I would just do it. That's what most writers just do. It's like so Quentin easy. Tarantino. You can get away with it so easily. Who's gonna give a shit? Who's gonna give a shit? No one will.
Yeah.
I'm Quentin Tarantino. I'm gonna put Margot Robbie's foot in my mouth and then say the N-word. And it's gonna be one of the highest.
All at the same time.
At the same time. Forrest, pop your shoe off. I'm gonna represent it for the people right now.
Alright. But yeah, it's just like, I don't know. I like the show because of the way that they commit all the way.
Yeah.
Right? And I would lose all of my respect for the show if they didn't commit all the way.
Yeah. If they tried to like, because then it shows that they don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Like they very clearly know what they're talking about to do these things in a way that like shows like this is bad, so you're laughing at these people. You're never laughing with these characters.
But honestly, do you feel like sometimes they go on the fringe like too far? Like there's all of those band episodes?
Well, I haven't seen those episodes. I've seen clips. It's making fun of like it's making fun of these types of people. I personally, as a black person, I don't think the blackface episodes go too far. We actually had a very long conversation about this throughout this past semester, like in my theater history and in my sketch comedy class of like blackface. It all happened in February, by the way. Awesome timing.
Well, I mean, that's a perfect time to talk about blackface.
Like we talked about like minstrel shows and whatnot, and a lot of people would like bring up, The Office did blackface in an episode as a gag, and Community did blackface in an episode as a gag.
Community didn't do blackface.
Yes, it did.
No, it didn't.
Well, what it did, he was cosplaying as a dark elf.
He was a dark elf.
And before you ask why he's not wearing like armor or whatever, he's not a nerd, so like he's committing to the bit, but he's like not committing all the way.
Yeah. Okay, I'll say, as a person who's grown up going to, like, Ren fairs and stuff, every now and again you see a person who's, like, has, like, all, like, the latex, like, based paint on and stuff. It's, like, their whole body.
Yeah.
And they're, like, actually dressed up as a dark elf, and they have ears and, like, a wig and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, I don't think that's blackface.
That's not blackface.
But that's what was in the episode, right? He had, like, ears and a wig, and, like, all of his body was like that, right?
Yeah, but he was wearing regular clothes on top of it, so it's like...
No, I know.
You gotta commit a little bit more.
You gotta commit a little bit more.
You know what it is? It's that Theseus' ship, where it's like, if you replace all the parts of, like, a ship... When does it, like, not
At what point is it new?
At what point is it not the original shit? It's like, at one point, are you a dark elf? Because then if you're not all the way dark elf, then you're just a guy who painted himself black.
Yeah. But, wait, yes. In the episode... honestly, I know this is crazy, but does he have the lipstick on?
I think so. I
don't remember, because honestly, I feel like that matters.
Community, Chang... blackface. Okay, he does not have the lips painted, but like
it's also that it's way too dark.
Yeah, well, that is midnight skin.
I know that's
there are a couple black people who do look like that. Like I've seen like models that look like that. Because they do like there was like a...
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, the like one was albino and then one was pitch black, and they were like, doing like a modeling shoot together. It was really cool. So there are black people who do look like that. But I don't think this is an example of blackface.
It's an example. I think it's an example of something that looks like blackface so that it will be taken that way.
Yeah.
So that they can make a commentary on it.
Yes.
Without actually doing blackface. Because if they actually did blackface...
Well, I mean, in The Office, they actually did do blackface. Yes. Red lipstick and all.
Yes.
But I also think that was okay, because they're making a commentary on, like, they're making a joke about, like, these old traditions that are still kept up to this day that are definitely outdated, and, like, making a joke of, like, are you gonna bring that blackface guy, Dwight? And Dwight's like, no, I'm not gonna do that. And then being like, he like calls a friend. He's like, "Yo, you can't come in here. They're definitely not gonna be chill with that." It's like making a joke of like these traditions that are still upheld for like no reason, even though they are objectively offensive and wrong.
And it like definitely still happens, dude.
Which is why I think it's fine that
when I was in college, one of my friend's dads, for Halloween, like dressed up as like a black guy. That was his costume.
Yeah.
And he went around with like a tank top, like a wife beater.
Yeah.
And a bucket of KFC all night, and at the costume party he was at, he won best costume.
Yeah. You showed me a picture of him. Looked exactly like my dad. He was talented. It was really well done blackface that he's practiced for a while.
It was like whoa. Yeah. That like still is like very prevalent and happens all the time, and a whole party of people were super chill with that.
Yeah, they all thought it was awesome.
It was not awesome.
Well, they thought it was.
I know. And my friend was like telling us about it. They were like so like embarrassed, obviously. They're like, I can't believe my dad did this. And we were like, well, we have to see.
Yeah. You have to show us a picture of it.
You have to show us a picture. And I was like, holy shit.
Could you tell at first?
That it was their dad?
Yeah, was it like really good blackface?
It was good blackface.
Okay.
I'd also never seen their dad before.
Oh, that's fair.
So it was like one of those things.
Yeah. Blackface is pretty awesome.
It is not pretty awesome, but that's a much different example of like than what's happening on like the TV, right?
Well, because they're making actual like they're making the joke goes past the blackface.
Exactly.
It's like in It's Always Sunny, to my knowledge, the joke in the like they're making movies, and it's kind of like what they did in Tropical Thunder, where like Robert Downey Jr. he was playing an actor who was so committed to the role that he like got surgery to make himself black, and that's the joke. It's like a joke on this type of person that would think this is okay.
Yeah, that's what they were doing. It's D is doing her characters for her audition reel. Yeah. And then she puts on that outfit, and everybody's like, whoa, D, is this okay? And she's like, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I'm just doing this. And she doesn't get the role, obviously. And it's like, I think it is, for me, like, right on that line. Especially since they do it like 5 times. Yeah. Like it's like a recurring bit. Yeah. And I'm like, I don't know if it needs to be a recurring bit.
Yeah, that's where it kind of loses me.
I think that's for me where it becomes on the line. Because if you do it once, it's like
you're saying something.
And it's like a part of like her like shitty characters. It's like that's and then they keep doing it with like other races as well. And I'm like, you already did this joke. Yeah. Now you're kind of like falling back on it, in my opinion, in a way that I don't love.
Yeah, but I think that could be an Icarus moment for them, where they were like, I think so. We're gonna keep building up on this like.
Sometimes I think shows and people get lost in like how edgy they want to be in the moment. Yeah. You know,
because when you get you're gonna get the laugh the first time with the thing, you want to see like how far can you go with the laugh, and then when you like do it one time, you get the laugh. You do it the next time, you don't get the laugh. You got all this other like shit in the tank, so it's like, okay, well I gotta throw it all out there.
It's like it's probably all the different ideas they had in the writers' room. They're like, should we do blackface or should we maybe do like should we make her Asian? Yeah, and it's like, well, shouldn't do both. Yeah, because it's the same joke.
Yeah, you do one.
You do
one time, and it's funny. Yeah. And maybe you do it like later on, like season 12. Something. Maybe you could try it again. Maybe because they won't expect it to happen again. Yeah. But then when you establish a pattern, it's like this isn't a good pattern to establish.
I agree. It's like, yes, this is something D would do. Yes, we've seen that D would do it. Yeah, and that's the end of it, right? Like you don't need to keep proving to the audience that D would do this.
Yeah, we've seen it once. We know what extent. It's like if they. I don't know. It's like if I don't know. I actually don't know where I was going.
But I also like, and then there's like, they say slurs in that show all the time.
They do. Hero or Hate Crime. Actually, I love that episode.
Hero or Hate Crime, I think, is one of the best like media representations of like how to write a slur into your sketch. Yeah. Honestly.
No, it was incredible because it's like they're saying these slurs and trying to like determine like is this an accurate slur on this person because this person doesn't identify as gay, but like everyone looked at this person when the slur was said. Yeah. So like
does he get they have the gag about how he's definitely gay because of his exercise bike.
Yeah, which is not gay at all, by the way.
Which is not gay. It's just so for those who don't know, the exercise bike is a bike that
the Ass Pounder 3000.
The Ass Pounder 3000 kind of like a motivator. Yeah. To make you work a little harder. Yeah. As he pedals, something enters him. Yeah. And so that he can really get pushed.
Yeah, and actually this was a bit in The Nightman Cometh that we adapted. We actually had a scene where our person who was playing Mac, who Cole, you guys have met, he was riding on the Ass Pounder 3000, he pulled down his pants. It was pretty awesome. Yeah. But that episode is a very good example of like how to use slurs like in a way that's like critiquing the
and he saved his life. Yeah. He saved his life by calling him a slur.
He did. That's the whole point of the episode is that it did using the slur save this person's life and therefore make him the actual owner of this lottery ticket.
Yeah, but it also points out from the title, hey, this is a bad thing to do. Yes. Right? From the title, from the get-go in the episode, it's like they're in a courtroom or in a room with a lawyer basically for charges because like this is a hate crime, dude. Yeah. Like and it's the oldest character who's like probably the most morally ambiguous and, like, the worst guy in the show.
Yeah, well,
I think Frank is the worst guy in the show.
Yeah, probably worse. Like, well, he actually kind of revels a little bit in the fact that he's evil. Because he talks about, like, the sweatshops.
He revels in the fact that he's successful.
Yeah, that's actually better.
Not in the fact that he's evil. He doesn't mind being evil to get there. He's like, yeah, I serve human soup in the sweatshops.
Yeah.
He's like, I saves money.
Yeah, he's like Mr. Krabs in that way, cooking the crabs into the Krabby Patties.
I don't think he does that.
Okay.
Because then they would just be crab cakes.
Well, where's he getting the beef?
That's not a burger.
Where's he getting the beef?
Neptune, it's something like that. I think it's shrimp.
You think it's shrimp? Well, then it's a shrimp cake.
Yeah, shrimp patty.
The shrimp patty? Okay.
You make you take the shrimp and then you put it in a food processor. Then you have like an egg and probably like some starch.
Is that not the same thing as a crab cake? Can you not
crab
do that
cake
with
is
crabs?
typically like pulled crab.
Can you not make a crab patty?
I don't know if it reacts the same way when you try and turn it into a mousse. I don't know is my answer.
Okay.
It's less common.
Okay. But it could still happen. So theoretically, he could be.
Maybe. I don't know if it has the proper like.
But
enzymes.
also, I don't know if
it has proper enzymes in it.
I don't think SpongeBob SquarePants is worried about the accuracy of like, if he's making them out of crab, they're crab cakes because they're using a grill underwater.
Because you cook crab in order to harvest the meat. So I'm gonna say no. But if you could grab it raw, which would be way too much work, then maybe you could turn it into that.
Okay.
You can't do it after it's cooked.
Okay. I believe you, but I still think they're made of crabs.
Good for you.
I don't think he minds calling them
How
patties.
would they make crab that color?
By grilling it, maybe. I don't know. It's
brown all the way through, dude.
It's a talking sponge. Okay, I don't think they were worried about that, Forrest. What are we talking about? What color? Why is it brown? They don't give a shit. They're making burgers underwater. He's using a grill underwater. There are multiple episodes where they go swim in a pool. It's SpongeBob. They're not worried about accuracy. They're making a fucking funny TV show, which is hilarious, by the way.
Everything else is the right color. The lettuce is green. The tomatoes are red. The buns are pale. It makes sense.
But it's still okay. Well, if they're how is the bread not dissolving underwater?
It would just get real mushy like.
Yeah, but it's
also it's probably like water bread. Like bread made from water.
Don't do this to me right now.
I'm telling you. That's definitely what it is.
You're hitting me.
They make the bread under the water, so it's made for the water.
Get down. You're not a part of this argument. You're hitting me with water bread. You're hitting me with water bread, and you're like,
more sturdy bread made from water.
If they grill the crab, it's not going to be the right color.
It wouldn't be the right color. Crab is white on the inside.
You're just making shit up. You're just making shit up.
You're making shit up. Everything else makes sense, so this has to make sense too.
No, it doesn't.
You don't get to pick and choose what makes sense in the SpongeBob universe.
That is literally what you're doing right now.
Dropped, George! A nuke dropped!
Drop it. Drop it right now, Forrest.
It doesn't matter.
So yeah, shout out to everyone that I worked with on the Nightman Cometh. You guys were all very talented. Shout out to Charlie, Delia, Kay, Robin, Harrison, Cole.
It was a good show, whatever.
This guy Simon.
It was good because George didn't do much for it. I walked in and George said, "You don't even see me," because he fucking hates me.
That's true. I actually hated the idea of people talking to me before the show because I felt like that would ruin.
Yeah, he said, "Act like you don't see me," and then I just went on my phone.
That's true.
I was real casual about it, but it hurt on the inside.
It wasn't a you thing for us. It was.
I heard other people talking to you.
I hated it.
Anyways,
and it was also like
thanks for watching.
There was like 30 minutes of banter before the show too.
I like that as well.
A lot of the
it was actually
actors
pretty accurate to the show as well.
Yeah,
and the way that they banter. I like that. It made it feel good.
Yeah, and it also was. The show's really short, so it's like gave them extra stuff to do, and they were really good.
Sometimes when things are too short, they're not satisfying.
That's true. Unlike this episode, which is perfect length.
Speaking of perfect length, check out our Patreon.
Yeah.
Where we post other things that are for the perfect length.
Yeah.
Not naming names. But we gotta go.
Yeah. Thank you for watching this episode. Leave a like and a comment.
Also smash that subscribe button the same way I want to smash my fist into George.
Yeah. Make sure you smash that like button like Mr. Krabs smashes those crabs and makes them into patties.
Let us know. Subscribe if you think that it's not crab. And if you think it is crab, unsubscribe and never watch another episode.
That's opposite.
It's been good. Bye.
Bye.